Welcome, everyone, to the debut edition of Livestream News. I'm Ross Brand, and my co-host is...
Coach Jennie. Hello.
Hey, Coach Jennie. I'm the host of Livestream Stars. Now that I've got so many Livestream shows, it's like, which is the main one again? Oh, it's Livestream Stars is the one I'm doing every week. So why don't I introduce myself as the host of that and LivestreamUniverse.com. Jennie, tell everybody which of the 120 shows a week you'd like them to watch next.
I am not that bad. Are you calling me an addict? So
No.
I am Coach Jennie, the Audacity Coach. I am not a live stream guru or a tech guru in any sense. I'm a thought leader who just really loves using live stream to connect with people. I blab a lot. So that's what he's making fun of. And so I host a show called Audacity Lab Blab, which is a fun little play on words, and a few others, including Dames on Thrones, which is our next one tomorrow, which is a bunch of women talking about Game of Thrones. So yeah.
Oh, wow. I haven't caught that one. I guess it would help if I watched the show, right?
Yeah, if you don't watch the show, we're going to spoil it like crazy. But if you watch the show and you would like to know what a bunch of women think about it, it's kind of fun and hysterical.
Okay. So women have kind of a different perspective on it than men might, or?
I don't know that that's true, but when I watch the YouTubers who talk about the show afterwards, it's always that guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that guy that you would run into at Comic-Con. And Dames on Thrones is a bunch of women who you would never catch at Comic-Con. So it's a very different perspective.
So just to kind of break down what we're doing here, we're not going to talk about the political candidates. We're certainly not going to bring out a map and show you which precincts they have to win to get the percentage of delegates they need to clinch the nomination or whatever. Plenty of outlets will do that for you from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep. Just like when I started Livestream Sports, we're not going to do scores and local sports talk and stuff. There's plenty of places, Sports Center and local shows to do that. So we're going to talk about the intersection of news and live streaming, what's going on in the world of live streaming, and also where the larger world intersects with live streaming. If something in the mainstream news has to do with live streaming, we'll try and work that in as well. So I guess to get started, Jennie, there's a few big updates. I think everybody knows about them now. Snapchat 2.0, Facebook Live, rolling out some new features. And you kind of dove into both of those after being, like me, kind of a holdout from both of those platforms, or were you using Facebook Live?
It's a good question. I was a holdout on Snapchat, and I think I'm a tentative holdout on Snapchat still. But, here's the thing, and this is why I wanted to do the show with you, is that it is overwhelming. From month to month, we're going to see in a month how much happens in the live stream space. It's overwhelming. It's very hard to keep up with all of this happy nonsense. And so figuring out which tools are going to work for you for now, recognizing that tools are changing and evolving, it's really hard to stay up to date on it. So that's what we're endeavoring to do. So I am an early adopter of Facebook Live-ish. I am not one of those people that I don't have a fan page, right? And it came to fan pages first. So I didn't have that, and I didn't have mentions. But as soon as they said, hey, you can now put this on your timeline, I started using Facebook Live on my timeline. And then the moment I found out I could put it in a Facebook group, I hosted a Facebook Live in my Facebook group. Like in the car, I got a text saying, hey, did you know you could do this? And I parked the car to do a Facebook Live. I was so excited in my Facebook group. And now you can actually do Facebook Lives inside of a Facebook event, which kind of takes it off your timeline, takes it off of the Facebook group, and kind of creates a container for a bunch of live events, which is really quite fun.
What's interesting about that is that then gives you the scheduling aspect, right? Because if you do it within the event, then you create the event, you invite everybody to the event, you set the time, and they know when it's going to start. Because that's kind of been Blab's. The one thing that Blab's been ahead of the game on is the scheduling aspect, right? The other live stream apps don't have that, or don't have it to the extent that Blab does, where it's locked in, you have the link, it gives you the countdown and all that. But event pages, were so good for me for offline events, for in-person, on-site events. I imagine they're going to be great for live streaming events too.
Well, see, Meerkat, David's right. Meerkat originally had that scheduling feature in it, but as we know, Periscope ate Meerkat and kind of squashed it like a bug. And
Right.
Periscope didn't care about it; wanted to be impromptu. Snapchat wants to be impromptu, right? Snapchat wants to be just in the moment. Tim is saying Spreecast did. I'm not as familiar with that. So most of the mobile-based apps don't. And let's be clear, Facebook Live doesn't have a feature in it where you can schedule your Facebook Live ahead. However, scheduling online events using Facebook, period, is something that we've been doing for quite a while. And I certainly do that in my Facebook group. You can do that with your Facebook page or with your own personal timeline. And now that you can stream live in all those different places, it's really powerful to be able to stream live right in the event. So people just have to click the event from wherever they are on Facebook and watch you live, participate live. And here's what's cool. If you RSVP'd that you were going to that event, you can then later also Facebook Live into the event. So I'm using that right now in the lab. It's working really well.
Well, Tim has a great question. He says, for Facebook Live, what's the best way to have video conversation with remote guests? I know you can't have two on air, but thinking must be a workaround. I think if you're really high tech, there's certain technology you can use. But I don't know whether that's doing it natively on Facebook Live or it's doing it somewhere else and then channeling it over to Facebook Live. But right now, that still is where Blab is winning, right?
Right.
And
but when you're Facebook Living, if somebody is there live, there's only a few second delay now for them to be able to chat into just type a comment like you would on Facebook of any video or picture you're looking at, and you can have that conversation. But Monique saw somebody today that was using Facebook Live, wirecasting and tying it into Blab. And we all know that those are the crazy hacks you see where people are blabbing and Facebook Living and Snapchatting this all at the same time. That's a little too ADHD for me. But there's definitely ways that you can do that. But Facebook Live is meant to be more of a broadcast, where you're broadcasting to people and you have that audience feedback similar to Periscope. As it stands now, though, of course, there's a lot of rumors about where Facebook Live is going.
And just to be clear, this conversation can't take place on Facebook Live unless you have a very high-tech solution. And shameless plug, Marty McFadden, who used to be at ESPN and does a lot of production stuff, is going to be joining me on Livestream Sports on Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Okay, end of shameless plug. But he knows how to do that, and he hosts co-host shows where he's actually got two hosts, and he creates sort of a whole like studio setup. So I can't wait to ask him how he does that, because he not only drops it into a window and runs it in Blab, but he has it going live on your feed on Facebook Live, so that when you're scrolling down, it just goes and plays, and you get the notification and all. So there's some wild stuff you can do out there. I don't know that the average person has the budget or the experience and the know-how. I mean, there's a lot of things involved. Tim says, I have Android.
Right, exactly. So then the Android people, they're always like 6 months behind on everything, because they optimize everything for iOS. And then if it takes off, they finally get around to you. Android people, apologies. I don't know why I'm apologizing. It's not me. I didn't do it. But yeah, there are hacks. There are ways that people do this stuff. That is not anything that I'm remotely interested in. I'm a Blab purist. I'm still pissy that we have screen sharing and all this stuff because I just want to have conversations with people. Although I must admit, we used the screen sharing capability in a Blab a couple hours ago, and it worked really nicely for what we were doing. So.
For video, or what did you drop in?
We were talking about a particular software, that an email marketing software, and one of my clients was willing to kind of open it up and show it to us, and here's how it works. So you could see inside it before you bought it, which was kind of cool. So that's the first time I have found a use for that. I know a lot of folks that do more technical work or teach more technical things probably are thrilled, because I know that was the number one request of Blab is to get that screen sharing capability. I personally would just rather see our questions come back, but that's
right. No, our questions are gone. I had to keep scrolling down to get to Kim's question.
I know. I just
things
want
are always changing here.
To have.
Right. So let's talk about Snapchat quickly, because Snapchat 2.0 came along, and like me, you finally said, okay, I got to figure out what I'm doing with this thing. I think you went from like 0 to 100 in like a week, whereas I went from like 10 to 15, I think.
I'm still hot and cold with Snapchat. Like, I'll have a day where I'm like, I am going to remember to Snapchat all day long, and then there'll be 8 days of oops, I joined the day that 2.0 came out, so I can't speak to 1 point anything.
Right.
And Monique Johnson is a huge fan of Snapchat, and she's been teaching me how to utilize it. I like it. I like the idea of it. However, I feel like in the thought leadership space, what a lot of us solopreneurs are doing is constantly using it for behind the scenes stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's all well and good, but behind the scenes of your business every day is kind of boring. You know what I mean? We need a little bit more than that. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to actually use it, but I want to figure it out so that I can reach a broader audience. And I think that's why we're using a lot of these live stream technologies, right? Is so that we can reach out and find a larger audience. And there's a free resource that Monique is sharing that has helped me so tremendously. It's a bunch of YouTube videos, nothing to buy, no opt-in, nothing. It's all right there. And you watch those YouTube videos and it explains, when you swipe this way, why are you doing that? And what does that mean?
Right.
Which is really lovely.
Oh, that's great. And Monique's going to be joining us in about 15 minutes to talk about do-it-yourself mobile video and her experience at Social Media Marketing World 2016. I always have the abbreviation and with the hashtag in my head, and it's like when I actually have to say it because people might not know what I'm talking about.
It's a
mouthful. Yeah.
The double M's, it's too much.
So, here's my thing with Snapchat, right? Mm-hmm. I can't figure out from my own personal account what I need to do or what I should do or what I want to do. I mean, I enjoy watching snaps occasionally, depending on who's doing what and whatever. But I don't really like to interrupt myself when I'm doing things to go, I don't like being on camera that much. I mean, I think Blab is kind of an anomaly because we're having these conversations. It's not like holding up the camera and saying, look at me, I'm taking this picture. I'm now, but then, I have an account that I just opened up for HR Avant-Garde. And one of my colleagues in that group, where I was talking to and said, this would be a great place for you to drop in like career tips, things that people can use, when they're job searching or when they have a performance review coming up or anything along the whole spectrum of your career and managing situations at work and stuff. Like, so when people say it's not for marketing, and we're not marketing, we're providing something helpful, but it's actually easier for me to think of why an organization could use it versus why I want to use it. But that's me.
But I think you're also only looking at one of the pages, right? You're looking at the page where you're broadcasting and putting it on your story, right? What about the other side? I think what I like about Snapchat that I am enjoying and not using enough, actually, as I'm saying this, I'm realizing tomorrow I'm going to do this, is to go over and send individual snaps, individual videos, individual voice memos to all the people that I'm following. So when I first signed up for Snapchat, I went over to that side and I was like, I don't really want to say, here's my story today. That didn't really interest me. But going and just saying, hey, thank you for following me. What are you working on today? And kind of personalizing that all the way through, one human at a time. Be like, hi, Ross. How was Livestream Stars last night? It's a way to kind of leave these 10-second voicemails, but have that facial, I don't know what I'm trying to say, like a video voicemail. And if somebody's there, the conversations actually happen. And now, with Monique, we actually get on there and have live chats, like using FaceTime, but in the Snapchat app, which is quite lovely.
And do you find there's a reason why you might use that versus using Facebook Messenger? Because you can do all the same things with Facebook Messenger, right?
If I call somebody on Facebook Messenger, they're going to be like, what? Because how often does that ring happen, right? You accidentally hear that ring.
You can record your voice now. You can record, I believe you can record video too on Facebook.
It's just not something that I've really utilized yet. So there's no good reason not to do it over there. What I love about Facebook Live over all of these other things is Periscope, even Blab, Snapchat. I am starting from zero and building an audience again. Sure, it's a lot of the same people, but you start at zero and you're building an audience again. Facebook Live, I'm streaming to the people I've been hanging out with since 2007. Right. And that is a beautiful thing. I've been working on that inadvertently for a long, long time. And I think that's what makes that something really special. So to your point, I haven't really used the Facebook Messenger in that way, but maybe I should.
Do you find with Facebook Live that you enjoy using the one in the group in creating an event or just putting it up on your timeline? Like, which do you enjoy doing most?
I don't like putting it on my timeline. So that's a backwards way of answering that question. Because I did the first few on my timeline. I was like, hi, I'm Coach Jennie. And then that cousin from back then gets on, hi, Jennie. And it's like, ah. So what's weird about that is think about everybody, you know, on Facebook watching these videos. There was no like way for me to block it. Now, I've learned since doing that first Facebook live stream or broadcast is that you can pick different groupings of people within your, but I don't have all that set up. That's just what a pain in the ass, right? So I've moved away from my timeline. I much prefer to talk about them in my group because those are people in my mind who have opted in because they've joined that group. They've opted in to hearing some of the messages and learning about what I'm talking about in my business. So from a business perspective, that's how I'm using it. In my mind, it's kind of like an email opt-in, right? I'm not just going to email my cousin Gary, hey, buy my thing, you know? And so that's that distinction for me.
Yeah, I kind of feel like even if Facebook went to some sort of format like this, if there was an audience at Blab, I really like doing it better where the audience opts in and chooses to come join you rather than all of a sudden I'm live streaming in somebody's feed, which they didn't ask for. And I maybe didn't necessarily intend the show for them, right? Like they have no, you know, they might not have an interest in this, whatever. But obviously, with the reach that Facebook has in the audience and everything else, if Facebook does come up with something like this, it would be really powerful and it would be probably pretty hard to resist. You'd probably get over very quickly what, you know, oh, my cousin's watching.
You're so right. Because the truth is that, you know, as much as I'm talking about it in the context of business and my business brand, my best Facebook Live ever was when my wife and I were on vacation. We're like, hey, we're at the beach.
Right,
it's gorgeous. You need to see this. Check it out. You know what I mean? That was really popular. And we were engaging with family and friends and colleagues and clients. And that was a really fun way of utilizing that. I believe that's how Periscope started, you know?
Right.
When you open up Periscope, now I gave up on Periscope long ago, but last I heard, when you open up Periscope, this isn't what you see. This is the camera it's using. It wants to see what you see, not a picture of you. You have to turn it around, right? You have to turn it to selfie mode. And the first thought, that's why it's called Periscope, is what do you see? And I like that. I think I'd like to see
most
more
people
Facebook
didn't use it that way.
No, and myself included. So far, most of them have been selfies.
So let's talk about what Facebook and Google are doing in terms of strategy, right? Facebook is reportedly coming up with a standalone camera app that is going to let you, without having to go into Facebook, share photos, share video, even start live streaming, and then it'll live stream into the timeline or into a group or what have you. Meanwhile, Google, who's been kind of left out of this sort of wave of social live streaming apps, is now working on YouTube Connect, which there's some reports that it might be out as soon as, you know, a couple weeks or whatever, within the next couple weeks. But all these are sort of like unsourced, unreported. You know, somebody told somebody told somebody.
I've only heard as a rumor. Like everything I've read is like they highlight the word rumor everywhere. Right.
Yeah, I remember Hangouts. McDonald's. I just remember
Tab
Hangouts.
8 Hangouts for me. I'm sorry, Hangouts, I miss
Yeah.
you, but not.
But so clearly, this says right that live streaming is important to these companies, and that they see a reason to get into it. Right? I mean, Twitter's trying to make the most of its opportunities with Periscope as well as integrate Periscope. So I think all this speaks to the importance of video and even live streaming going forward. We haven't exactly figured out how everybody's going to be using these tools, but clearly they're saying that it's important for them to provide other ways for you to share content on their platforms. Like
Right.
I think Facebook has noticed that the content sharing and the profile updates have gone down, and so that could be their motivation. And I guess YouTube, being YouTube, should be able to offer what everybody else is offering, right? I mean, they've been the king of video, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of like, as much as I'm enjoying Facebook Live, because Facebook is where I have the strongest foothold of all the social networks. And when I say that, is not necessarily in numbers, but I have the strongest engagement. That's where people are really paying attention. I feel like YouTube's going to show up with YouTube Connect and drop the mic, because they are the best in video. Like, they know what they're doing. And I'm really curious about what they're coming up with. Same problem. I have to start a new community over there. My cute little YouTube following it's cute. You pat it on the top of its head. It's so cute. But that's okay. I am very intrigued to see what they come out with. But will it be the next Hangouts, or Google Plus, which is wah, or will it be the next Periscope meets Facebook Live meets Snapchat? Who knows?
Right. I think what's interesting too is that I haven't heard anything about any of these apps that are coming or in the works or whatever actually trying to do this format, right? The focus seems to be on getting you to share yourself and in the moment and message people and stuff like that. So is that their way of saying that this isn't a winner to them, or that this isn't a threat at all, so we don't even have to consider coming up with an option for that? Or is it just that it's so deep in the vault that they've got a team somewhere six levels underground in a bunker or something working?
That's a really good question, because this is one of the reasons.
And it's not one that I expect you to have an answer for. I'm
no, I have an opinion, though. I mean, I don't have answers on anything, but I have opinions out the wazoo. But yeah, this is why I'm a Blab purist. What I loved about Blab is it wasn't another webinar software.
Right.
And now it's added enough features to be a better, but another webinar software. And that is such a bummer to me, because it used to be this wonderful place for organic connection with all these great people. I've made amazing friends here. I love it. So the purist in me wants to hang on to that. But the fact that there hasn't been a lot of competitors show up, or at least not in my purview, for Blab specifically, is interesting to me. It does beg that exact question. And in, our kind of Kardashian lifestyle that we have now, look at me, it makes sense that the millennials will be the first ones to use these tools for the most part. So let's fit into where pop culture and culture is.
Right.
And have it be a one-to-many versus these discussion points.
Yeah, I would say that the millennial Kardashian crowd is not rushing over to Blab right now, right?
Haven't seen one of them. Haven't seen them. They haven't been over here. And the folks that are really enjoying Blab are at least Xers for the most part. So yeah, it's a interesting. I mean, these are gross generalizations about whatever, and I'm somewhere in between these things. But still, I think that matters. And whoever's coming out with the next cutting edge or bleeding edge technology wants it to be the next Snapchat.
Right.
I feel bad for these tech companies who are trying to chase around these millennials, because the first thing they did is they came out with Facebook, and it was for college kids, and now it's not cool. And then they came out with Snapchat, and now we're making that not cool. We're just not cooling all of their programs.
Right. Plus the generation that made it cool is eventually going to graduate from college and, enter the 9 to 5 world and all, and they're going to make it not cool for the next generation to be on it, right?
Exactly.
Because your boss is on it, so you don't want to be on it, or your dad's on it, so you don't want to be.
That's it. As soon as your mom shows up or your dad shows up, Snapchat is dead.
Right.
We will no longer be doing that anymore, people.
Yeah, so it's so competitive now, and like everybody wants to find the next Snapchat, right? Mm-hmm. The next place where young people will go when Snapchat isn't cool, or just to start digging into those numbers, because Snapchat is clearly a threat to Facebook as it sees it. Although Facebook is so powerful, it would take a lot more than Snapchat to put Facebook out of business. But Facebook wants to rule the world, so
clearly. And to your point, you know, there's a lot of scuttlebutt about how Facebook usage has kind of shifted down small. But when you think about the billion people that are on the darn thing, that's a lot of people are posting a little less often about it. I forget what the numbers were, but it was like 4% of people were posting. Now it's like 30-something% of people are posting all the time and kind of giving up. And so to keep it engaging and keep it different, they have to have a new bell and whistle. And, you know, I think a lot of what they did in the business realm, making sure there's ads and all these different things, started turning off young people and turning off all people, actually, so that you're using it less and less and less. So they have to come up with the next shiny object to keep you going. Twitter, the same thing. I really think this whole Twitter nonsense where they're saying we are going to expand to thousands of characters, I forget the number, from 140 characters to small ebooks. It hasn't happened yet, but I feel like that scuttlebutt is just to make sure that you keep going while it's only 140.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that that's really going to affect most people. But they now have, just like it's been going on, I guess, since the beginning of the year on iOS. Now for Android, the periscopes start playing in your feed as you go through your feed. They start auto playing.
Oh, do
on
they?
Android.
That's
so
annoying as hell.
Yeah, they're trying to make the most of Periscope. Clearly, they're doing a better job than they did with Vine, but I don't know. I mean, it had some momentum for a while. It seemed like Periscope was going to rule live streaming, and now I won't say it's receding, but it's not building up so much steam. Or you think it's gone? You think it's Facebook Live is going to kill it?
I mean, I'm sure there's still 5 or 6 people on MySpace or something, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like
take my MySpace course.
Exactly, right? Or Google Plus. You know, Google Plus, there's still people that are hanging on to it because they love it. And here's the thing. I love how Google Plus worked, but there were no people over there. You know, the engagement wasn't there. People weren't showing up there consistently. Of the few people that were following me. So it's the same kind of thing. But when you start integrating it with Facebook or YouTube, Twitter's just not going to compete, in my opinion.
Right.
Again, my very uneducated opinion.
Right. So let's move on to do-it-yourself mobile video. And our guest today is Monique Johnson. Monique, you can call in. She's from Both Sides of the Camera is her company, bothsidesofthecamera.com. And Monique was a speaker at Social Media Marketing Worlds 2016, talking about mobile do-it-yourself video. And while Monique's calling in, you know, that new camera that just came out, right? Sometimes it's called Mevo. And sometimes it's called Movie, M-O-V-I.
I think Movi is the name of the company and Mevo is the name of the camera, but I've been very excited about this since I heard about it, and I want to learn from Monique. Now, Monique Johnson, if I can also add to her introduction, is the reason I get on camera. So Both Sides of the Camera, she teaches people how to charm the camera and get over their camera shyness. I know nobody will believe this now, but I was terrified of being on live video or recorded video, and Monique Johnson got me off of that crazy train. So I'm super excited that you're here, Mo. Hey, how's it going?
Hey guys, can you guys hear me? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we can.
Welcome.
You have a fancy setup too. Really fancy.
It's just a snowball microphone thing.
So tell us a little bit about what you spoke about at Social Media Marketing World related to do-it-yourself mobile video.
Sure. So this was the first year that, well, it was the fourth year of Social Media Marketing World, but it was the first year that they offered workshops. So there was an opportunity for attendees to sign up for these workshops that were 90 minutes long. So I conducted a workshop on all things mobile video production, but it's how to create a professional video that your audience will both watch and share. And so it was one of the more popular workshops. Like there was 500 plus people. I was put in the biggest room. I didn't realize how popular the topic would be and what it is. And I mean, it was a blast, and it was the opportunity for me to pretty much show all that I know in regards to mobile video production.
That's great. Now, when you talk about mobile video production, tell us, give people who aren't too familiar with it, like, what are the basic tools you need to get started? Like, what's the least you need to have to do that? Well,
for one, is a smartphone of some sort. It doesn't matter if it's, iPhone or Android. And it's just a matter of my number one thing, in which I even said this in my workshop, and I'm a huge advocate for this, is that I see too many people holding their phones like this when they're recording video. And that is a no-no. You need to hold it horizontally, because as a result, you're going to get what I call those ugly black bars on the side when you're uploading it to a player such as YouTube. Okay, it makes you look like an amateur, like you don't know what you're doing. It's very distracting. So I even had a specific slide in my workshop that says, help me. It was like this kid yelling to the microphone saying, stop the vertical video campaign. Like, that is a mission for me. However, I know there's certain apps like Snapchat and other things, or even Facebook Live. It's very hard or it looks really weird when you're recording it horizontally. And I only, because I'm on Snapchat, avid user of it, and yeah, I primarily hold my phone vertically. But if I feel like this is a great snap that I want to repurpose, because you can download your videos to your phone, then I will purposely make it horizontally, because I know I'm gonna repurpose it and put it on YouTube or something else. So that's what I recommend.
So, Monique, all things considered, when you want to do it yourself with mobile video, that's what your whole thing is about. There's so many things that can go into it. The first thing is you need a smartphone, obviously. Yeah. But also you have to consider sound quality, lighting quality, all of those different things. What is the absolute most important thing to focus on? Okay, so that's a very good question. So when it comes to video in general, audio makes or break your video. Like, you could have the crappiest look, like right now, I'm a video person, but the lighting isn't exactly great. It's not fully lighting my face, but you could have all those different things going on. But if your audio is like staticky, or there's just a lot of background noise, distracting noise, people will leave in a heartbeat. However, when it comes to mobile video, because you're dealing with whatever the manufacturer, the camera that they put in your phone, it's very limited. So to me, it's neck and neck between audio and lighting. With your mobile device, natural lighting is the most important thing to consider when you are looking to shoot a video. So for instance, you want to be near a window, you want to use as much sunlight. However, you might not have that luxury. Like right now, it's evening time on East Coast time. So as a result, that's when you want to use actual external lighting sources. So I recommend using daylight bulbs, because that's the closest that you can get to natural lighting to the sunlight as far as color temperature. So that, to answer it in a nutshell, it's both audio and lighting when it comes to your mobile device. Right. So it's definitely neck and neck, but they're both really darn important. Yes. And it matters so darn much. Yes. Like right now I'm lit from above, and so I have all these shadows around my neck, and it makes me crazy. Now on a Blab, I don't care that much. For some reason, Blab is the place where we don't kind of forgive that. Part of that is we're not zoomed in as closely, right? We have these smaller squares, and you're sharing the thing. And honestly, you're not looking at yourself. So that's kind of nice. You're looking at everybody else.
And Blab is kind of, it's really basically like talk radio with webcams. It's like when you see a radio show simulcast on TV, they're not really playing to the camera. The camera's in the room, but they're doing it. I kind of feel the same way on Blab. I mean, I didn't put any thought into, the lighting, the setting, anything, but I made sure I had a microphone so that at least I sounded clear as I felt I needed to be or whatever. So I kind of agree, like audio before video when it comes to a platform like this, right?
Which means you have to care about your bandwidth. You have to care about your internet connection. So Blab is notoriously cruel to people who have shoddy internet connection, right? Like we want to hear what you have to say, but when you're we finally give up. Whereas it's a little different with the mobile video apps and all these live streaming apps, right, Monique?
Yes. And I mean, like you guys said, bare minimum, you can, most smartphones have their auto or their native camera app. However, there are some things that are out of your control. So there are bare minimum 2 apps, which I'll share with you guys. For iOS now it's both for iOS and Android, which I'm so happy about this now, is the Filmic Pro app, Filmic Pro app. They recently launched the Android version of it, and so I'm really excited about that. But pretty much this is the app that industry standards, like people who actually create full out films in the indie film space, they actually use this app. So it's so robust. There's so many different things you can do with it, but I definitely recommend that. However, I've heard that sometimes with Android users, they're having issues with downloading it. So another app that I recommend when you're recording video is called Cinema FV-5, which I'll type that in right now for you guys. That is another great app that was actually created by a professional DSLR photographer, videographer.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Jennie, go ahead.
I was just going to ask about Mevo. So while we're talking camera,
sure.
Mevo, which is, it makes me think of your name. I call you Mojo sometimes. Mevo. So Mevo is this new camera that is supposed to stream Facebook Live, but not using your phone.
Yes.
You actually use your phone to direct it. When you were at Social Media Marketing World, were you able to get a sneak peek?
Not of Mevo. I did see someone use Osmo. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that one. It's another type of camera that you use your smartphone to direct it, just like Mevo, but it's strictly for recording. It's not something that it's directly just only for live streaming. I only saw one person moving around with that. However, based on what you guys were talking about for Facebook Live, Mari Smith, the queen of Facebook, of everything Facebook, of course, was there. I was able to meet her and listen to her and to a lot of things. I will tell you guys, the number one push at Social Media Marketing World this year was live streaming video and Facebook Live. And as a result, Facebook now is catering to Facebook Live videos, meaning you are going to rank higher in the algorithm. And they're doing a bunch of things that will be coming out feature-wise in the next couple of months. So Mari definitely made sure to say, get on Facebook Live. And the fact that, look at it. Facebook just recently partnered with Mevo to release this camera that only, hooks up to Facebook Live directly. 2, Facebook sees the huge importance when it comes to video. So for one, if you're an iOS user, you can create your own profile video feature. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Doing that.
But
yeah,
I did that recently. You can do it if you have an iOS, where you can actually create a small, I don't even know if it's like 5 seconds or so of a profile video. So then when people go on your profile, it'll be a little video of you greeting them. So there's some, and then the fact that, Facebook has their own video component to the fan pages, making it look very similar to a YouTube channel. Facebook is investing a lot when it comes to video because they know time and time again, this is why I love DIY mobile video, and I want to share this with as many people as possible, is the fact that more and more people are viewing their content on mobile devices. So you might as well, this is the most powerful device that you can carry around in your pocket. You no longer have an excuse not to create a video. And the fact that all of these devices create HD video, now even full 4K video, it's amazing at such a low price. The very high quality types of video that you can create, and it's instant. You can edit it, and boom, you're able to market your business and expand your exposure even more.
So, Monique, like, one of the questions I have about Facebook, you mentioned that they're really prioritizing video that's native to the platform, right?
Sure.
Are they prioritizing things that are done on Facebook Live, your live streaming, over even recorded and uploaded directly to Facebook videos?
That is a good question. I'm going to say yes, but Facebook video, pre-recorded videos still are very much important. You need to use as much video as possible.
Right.
Before, I would say Facebook had a love and hate relationship with YouTube. They have an absolute hate relationship. Okay.
Right,
I mean, you can see when you share anything on there with a YouTube link, they've shrunk the size. I mean, it just doesn't look as appealing. It doesn't automatically play or anything like that. Okay.
It's so rude now.
Yeah. So Facebook.
Yeah, I was thinking, what did I do wrong?
Yeah,
I must not have loaded this link right or something.
Exactly. Facebook.
Let me copy the embed code again.
Facebook hates YouTube, guys. So if you want to do well with video, this is what I tell people, right? I'm like, okay, you still want to use YouTube as your mothership, your hub, right? Because they're the second largest search engine. However, for Facebook, you want to use that same video, but upload it directly. Do not share the link. It's not going to do as well, because each of these social media platforms have their different cultures, rules, and all that. And I'm just telling people, when it comes to video, just upload it directly, okay? You'll do much better with your rankings, or, just getting more people to engage with you.
Is there an ideal length of time? I mean, like,
that was my question.
I take my blabs and I put them on YouTube, but I also embed them with Simple Live Press, which is an app that a plugin for WordPress that pulls all your comments and all that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So I use different ways to repurpose, right? Mm-hmm. Should I take like a whole blab and just upload the raw video to Facebook, or do you think that I'd be better off just taking like a clip?
Okay, right. So one, I would say test it out on your audience, like who are specifically following you. But me, I would recommend you chopping them up, creating either teasers or just even one little segment, right? The fact that you're doing this show, you guys have covered several types of topics. Doing one topic clip and then encouraging people, hey, if you guys want to watch the rest of it, head on over to YouTube, or provide a link, or do some sort of strong call to action. Or if you have it embedded on your website, have them go to the direct, URL. But I've done that. Yeah, the only time I would say right now for Facebook that people would actually watch a long video is if it's Facebook Live.
Right. If they're able to communicate and participate in it live. But I don't think they're going to watch it on the replay.
Well, right. It depends, because if it's showing up in your newsfeed, you see there's a lot of comments, there's a lot of likes, a lot of hearts, emotions and things. People might actually stay and watch the whole thing, or even add even more content themselves. You mean comments themselves.
The challenge for me with that is, have you watched a video that is pre-recorded, so you're not able to participate with that person, and in the background you can kind of see Facebook other notifications coming up, and so like it's got built-in shiny object syndrome. It's just not cute at all. Ross, one of the things that I did is I had somebody who's much smarter than me cut up some of my blabs into those bite-sized bits. Mm-hmm. And I like to have these blab conversations go on for a long period of time. Mm-hmm. And she took one of my like hour and a half blabs and turned it into 11 bite-sized chunks that are now these 11 between 2 and 8 minute YouTube videos. And that's really powerful, because then it becomes repurposable, without having to be long form.
My biggest problem is the time that it takes to do it. And I mean, I guess it's probably worth making time if you feel you get a lot of good feedback on that. Like you you're having people watching it and it's serving you well, having those short clips?
I would not have done it had I not outsourced that. So I want to be really clear. I do not have the time to spend on that. So it's not very fair for me to say. However, I say that Monique Johnson, if she wanted to do that, she could do it really quickly because she's got those skills. When I edit video, it's kind of like me making homemade matzo ball soup. It's just not pretty.
Hey, David.
Hey, Ross.
Did you have
a green screen there, buddy? David, have you met Monique?
Hi, Monique.
Hi, David. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. This is not natural lighting.
No, it's not. I was going to say those are daylight bulbs for sure.
Yes, they are. I have a pack of daylight bulbs sitting in the closet for any time I break a daylight bulb, which happens more often than you would actually think.
Yeah, trust me. I know.
But I'm in the process of moving everything over to LED. I'd rather do LED.
Oh, yeah. LED is the best.
So just more expensive.
Go ahead, David.
Prices coming down. But see if
so what else do you guys see people doing wrong with do-it-yourself video besides going vertical when they should be horizontal with their camera? In terms of like how they hold the camera, or how they speak into the camera, something like that. Like the biggest mistakes you see.
How much time do you have?
Be concise.
Something somebody can correct.
A list. Stop trying to make them look like TV freaking commercials. It's not broadcast television. There's the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like Jennie was asking me why I'm not an advocate of Mevo yet, and I haven't played with one. I know somebody that has, and I trust them. And that was way back at around CES time. But anyway, there's friction, and the more friction you introduce in trying to create or go from idea to internet, the worse it gets. So, it's kind of like taking your blabs and bite-sized chunking them. You don't have to do it. Go hire somebody for $20 a week and have them do it. Uh-oh.
She got bumped for a sec. She'll be right back.
So when we were going over those different apps, did you threw a couple things in the chat box that all went by kind of quick? What do you recommend? What do you like to use?
I agree with Filmic Pro. I'm an iOS guy. I have an Android. I have one Android device. I have my Nexus 7 tablet, which I do like. But I'm not. I quit trying to make Android work because, and this was a couple years ago. Android did not like external microphones aside from like this. There was a problem with the jack system and the way that the camera system worked, and it didn't matter who did it. Samsung finally came out, I think, with the S5 is when they sat there and they made it where an external mic would actually work. Like I have, so I use a wireless lav or I use a wired lav system for most of them. It wasn't doing that. So basically what I was getting was onboard, or it was something janky like this, or I was doing the audio recorded separately, and then there was just no point because I had the iPhone, so it didn't matter. But that's how I actually started. Oh my gosh, 4 or 5 years ago, all the videos that I was doing were filmed on the iPhone because the cameras on them are great. And the best camera that you have is the one that you have with you. And so that's another reason I don't really like Mevo. It's like it's friction. It's like if you introduce too much friction to start doing something almost immediately, it just slows down the process and just
complicating it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, and I can overcomplicate things way too quick.
That's the green screen behind you. Just saying.
Well, that's permanently up there because I got tired of putting it up and taking it down. So it's permanently up there.
Cool.
Well, same question to you, Monique. I don't know if you had stepped out, but the question Ross asked is, what are some of the biggest mistakes you see people make when it comes to do-it-yourself mobile video?
Well, okay, number one is really overthinking video. So like being in front of the camera. People have this huge fear of being in front of the camera and overthinking it. And especially what David was saying, like I started with video on my iPhone 4 that was before HD even existed. But I mean, I did everything. I did white screens. I did green screens, all that other stuff. Like I played around with so much before I upgraded to like a DSLR or anything like that. And I would have to say people, when it comes to with anything like shiny object syndrome, they're like, oh, what app should I use? What? No, just press the record button and just start recording. Okay. And I'm just going to tell you this, in which someone said this at a social media marketing role, and I'm so glad they did. Your first video is guaranteed to suck. Okay.
Yes.
Accept that. It's going to
have the charming years.
Your first 20 videos are going to guarantee.
Yes. It's going to suck. But don't let that stop you from recording a video, okay? It's going to suck, but you will get better each time. I mean, Jennie can relate to this.
We did my video sucked, but yes, I will attest to that. Not just your pre-recorded videos, but your live stream. Right. When I decided to start Facebook live streaming, I knew I was going to struggle with it because I struggled with Periscope so much I gave up on it after 4 scopes, you know?
Right.
So one of the things I did was I took the pressure off of myself of making the content any good and decided to do a weekly show where I'm like, I'm going to tell you what we're going to be doing this week, even though you can read.
Right.
I mean, that's truly what it was, just to get in the habit of coming on camera and getting used to people coming on and getting used to how it all looks. Sometimes you just have to let go of it needing to be, it's not your TED Talk. And I think you're absolutely right. Most people show up and they want their first blab, their first scope, their first Facebook Live, their first YouTube Connect to be their TED Talk. And no, even Oprah has charming years. Did you see her hair in the 80s?
and then people get caught up. Like, first of all, one of the major complaints people say in regards to video production is fancy equipment. But even with your mobile device, you can hook it up, right? If you really wanted to, you can invest in so many different accessories and apps and things. And people tend to get caught up in that too. Well, I want it to look like this or that. And to me, the only thing that you need to get started with is to have some sort of tripod attachment. Okay. That's another thing, is having these shaky videos along with the vertical. You don't want to have shaky. Now, people are more forgiving if you're like at an event or something, but that's why things like the selfie stick and all that exists. It allows you to have more stabilized videos. So I would say that's the number 2 thing that I see people are doing. So invest in a tripod attachment and a tripod if you don't have one. They're like $19 starting at, Best Buy or something like that. Just set that up, Target. And just right, exactly.
Are you talking about like the ones you put on the floor or like the little desktop one?
A desktop or actual full out one where it has the legs, you extend them out so that you can, record videos either standing up or sitting down. Not
Amazon Basic, $20.
Yeah, or even just something like that, a Joby one or something. But having some sort of stabilization for your videos will help you tremendously.
I got this thing.
I need one of these little guys. That's awesome. Because the other thing I realize is I kind of need a selfie stick. Because sometimes I want to shoot a quick video, and I've always been like anti-selfie stick because it's a selfie stick. Yeah. But when you're holding I can't get it far enough away, and then it's dancing around. I think that would be good, and I end up looking up my nose. It's not cute.
Right.
So it might be time for a monopod.
Yeah. The funny thing is I haven't used this yet because I don't do anything with video except on Blab.
Gotcha.
So I'm one of those people who's got to get comfortable too, doing other types of live streams. And
when I first started, so there was no Periscope or anything when I started, and probably when Monique started.
Right.
In order to get more comfortable in talking to the camera, like it's talking to a person, because that's like Monique said, that's the biggest thing, is that every time the camera goes on, people look at the camera and they're like, "Hi, I'm David," and this is what I
deer in headlights.
It's really, really bad. You got to get comfortable and have a conversation with the camera, and it's really difficult. So I went on Fiverr and I hoard myself out, and I did like 30-second promo whatevers. I set the standard, and I got paid, to sit there and do, and I did probably 40 or 50 different things. But what it did is everybody gave me their script. So it got me used to talking about a whole bunch of different things. And so that's what,
Right. And then for me, right. I've been like doing video production since 2009, but being in front of the camera, I only started maybe 2-3 years ago, I used to have this YouTube show with a friend of mine, and that is what helped me get comfortable in front of the camera, because you'll meet a lot of videographers or people who are into video, but if you put them in front of the camera, they are not that great either. But it's a matter of practice, just like with anything else, guys. I know people hate to hear that and all that great stuff, but it just boils down to practicing and putting in the time.
And do you recommend entertainment? So I have an entertainment background.
Mm-hmm.
In entertainment, you don't look at the camera. That's
right.
That's a big no-no.
Right.
So to go from that to having to look at the camera,
to
make the eye contact and everything was, so there are all these different things. It'll help with if you've never done stage, like if you've never done a speaking event or a keynote or anything, it helps you with all that different type of stuff.
Right.
I think one of the biggest mistakes people make with all video, pre-recorded or live, but especially live, is to be over apologetic.
Yeah.
Nothing bothers me more than somebody saying, I'm sorry, guys, that I'm not keeping up with the chat over here because I'm not going to see your questions, but it's because I can't. Blah, blah. Shut up. Like, just
or apologizing for getting a phone call.
Right. Or, oh, I got a phone call or
phone.
Right. All these different things.
And it's live. Like, that's the point. That's why this is so appealing, is it's raw, unedited, and people are more forgiving that way. And people want to see what's going on. Just, you being yourself.
Right, right. So I think that perfectionism really is a big problem. And the folks that do the best with live streaming are the folks that can set their perfectionism. They can laugh at themselves, and they know how to find the delete or hide button later if they need to.
Right.
Now, do you recommend, like you said, your first 20 videos are going to suck. Do you recommend just like recording them and deleting them, or recording them and saving them, but like wait till 21 to post it or go live?
It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. The first 20 you publish are going to suck. Because there's always going to be, it's Hilda and the perfection analysis paralysis or whatever. It's just how it is. You're going to find stuff wrong. Somebody's going to sit there and comment. Oh, you said this word wrong.
Yes.
Or you said this word twice, or, all these different types of, you had a bird fly over in the background because you were shooting a natural scene, or I don't know. I'm sorry.
My recommendation,
the birds were off on break when the memo went out about don't fly in my freaking video.
Well, my recommendation for that is kind of a weird one that would make a lot of people uncomfortable. But Monique did this to me. The first video that I ever published was a blooper video of me trying to say stuff right and screwing up in her studio. And she was shooting the video. She starts laughing her ass off, but off camera. And I was like all wired in and not able to move. And the film goes on for 3 minutes. So the first video ever on YouTube that she posted of me before I even had a YouTube channel is this fabulous blooper.
Oh, where's that link?
I gotta go find it.
No. You do not have to go find it. But it is hysterical.
That can be our show opening for next month.
Right?
People really like the B-roll.
And then what's really funny is watching me try to get back to it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get back. And I'm still laughing,
Yeah, we're both
So
laughing.
but what it did is it totally broke the ice.
Yep.
Because now people are expecting me to be real. And I think so few people would be willing to kind of show those warts, But yeah, it's still on
another
YouTube.
thing, don't try and do one take. Please stop. It's very evident.
Yeah. Your first one is not going to be the best. You're going to mess up and practice a couple times, and then you'll nail it. So.
Well, I've seen people that have done over 100 videos, and you honestly can tell they try and do the entire thing in one freaking take.
Yeah.
In one take, not necessarily their first take, but one take period.
Yeah, just one.
So you're saying
record and they go through and you can tell that
they'll do it 100 times till they get one take that they're happy with, is what you're saying, rather than editing a couple of.
I mean, if I'm doing like a 20-second promo video for a Facebook ad or something like that, that's going to be one take. But trust me, I did 30 frickin' takes before I got that one happy, and I'm still probably going to edit something out, because there's always going to be a pause or an and or too many or.
Well, and one of the things, Monique, you teach also in DIY mobile video is you talk about how don't try to make the cuts in the editing invisible. Play them up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Zoom in for the next cut, zoom out. Like, those are more interesting videos to watch than the perfectly edited, like we're making a feature film, right?
Right. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's like in the YouTube culture, there's, people don't mind having the jump cut, which you would never have in a professional setting and all that great stuff. But to me, it's all about engaging and doing a reset button for your audience. And so zooming in, zooming out, and just doing those little things, will just help reset that button. So people will be like, okay, let me continue watching this.
So, Monique, before we wrap up, people who are, you do video coaching, like you coach people on camera, you help with editing, all sorts of, can you just give people like a rundown on where they can find you and what you offer?
Sure. So you can find me at bothsidesofthecamera.com. And if you want to learn specifically about mobile video production, head on over to DIYmobilevideo.com.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. It's great meeting you and chatting with you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So this brings us to the close of our first show. It was a lot of fun. And we'll be back next month. Jennie, tell everybody what you have coming up this week.
So this week on live streaming, I have Dames on Thrones tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you are up to speed on Game of Thrones and you would like to have fun, it's ridiculous. And then, of course, on Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern is the original Blab About Nothing with me and Karen Graves, which is always a blast. Nothing serious for the rest of the week. All the serious stuff is over by Wednesday. I only have about 2 days of serious in me.
All right. And I have Thursday night, I have live stream sports at 7 p.m. Eastern right here on Blab. Marty McPadden, who used to work for ESPN, is going to be joining me, sharing some secrets from behind the camera as well as his live streaming work, and should be a good conversation. So hope to see everybody there, and have a great evening, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.